Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and today we are back with another episode of the Nickname Academy, where we're going to go through every single Pokemon right the way from Bulbasaur through to Zeraora and give them all nicknames, and when Gen 8 comes out, we'll give them nicknames too. And of course, Gen 8, we've already had some announcements for. Very exciting stuff. We've got the starters, at least the first three, already working on their nicknames. I have one down, but that is for a future episode. Right now, we are going to dive into Generation 2. Yes, last time we finished off Gen 1, and now we're looking into Generation 2. Very exciting stuff, and we're going to crack right on, starting with what is possibly, I think it's fair to say, one of the least popular of the starter options. Much as it pains me to say it, I know that this one has its fans, but we're starting with one of the least popular ones, it has to be said, and that is going to be Chikorita. Chikorita we're going to name Salad Gift, and we're starting off with a particularly silly one. It's called Salad Gift, because looking at the name, you've got Chikorita. Chicory is a particular kind of salad leaf, of course, often seen in, you know, salads, and finishing off with TA, which is just a way of saying thanks. So like if you sort of salad, if you're passing someone the salad, you're like, oh, Chicory, Chikorita. There you go. Moving on to Chikorita's evolution, which is going to be Bayleaf, and we have another kind of sort of leaf-themed one. We're going to call it Bolognaise, and this is kind of a personal one to me. It comes with a little bit of a story from when I was young. When I was still living at home, my dad used to make the Bolognaise when we were having spaghetti Bolognaise at home, and there's various things that people put in Bolognaise. You know, you got like the minced meat and onion and red wine and stuff. My dad used to put in celery and green and red peppers. I know some people think that's weird. I know some people put carrot in it. Had an acquaintance at school whose mum used to put broccoli into Bolognaise, which I think is weird personally. But one of the things my dad used to put into Bolognaise sauces was bay leaves, just for a bit of flavour. Obviously you wouldn't eat them, but I have very, very clear memory. He'd put 2 bay leaves in, and literally there were 4 people eating. Every single time I got my first serving Bolognaise, I would always get one of the bay leaves. Always. Without fail. I'm not sure how it happens, but that's how it is, and that's why it's sort of personal to me. Bay leaf, it's its name, and I just remember that from my childhood. So there we go. Bay leaf is going to be Bolognaise. Finally, in that evolution line, we have Meganium, and for this nickname, I have gone, ladies and gentlemen, on sabbatical from my Nickname Academy to a brother or sister school run by my man Sam, aka Fufu. I've been to his school of nicknaming to get some hints and tips as to how to nickname Pokemon. And what he likes to do is take something about the Pokemon and another aspect of the Pokemon, words that sound a little similar or have a little bit of assonance that matches, and merge them together. So what we've gone with Meganium is Floropod. Because Meganium is based on a certain type of dinosaur, the big, herbivorous, 4-legged, long-necked, long-tailed ones called sauropods. And, you know, it's based on flowers, which are flora, as in flora and fauna. So we've taken sauropods, we've taken flora, and we've merged them together to form Floropod. There we go. So, moving on, we have Cyndaquil, who is going to be nicknamed Besta. Now, this is named after Erica Besta, who is the founder, or one of the founders, of a South African book publishing company called Fire Quill Publishing. And Cyndaquil has the quills and it's on fire. So there we go, Fire Quill, Cyndaquil, Besta. Even sillier though is Quilava, the evolution of Cyndaquil. This is going to be called 92 Olympics. Big long story here. The 1992 Summer Olympics were held in Barcelona. And for the Barcelona Olympics, there was a specific Catalan team, I believe, and they had sort of their uniform and their pattern uniforms made specifically for this Olympics. And there was a specific type of Catalan tartan made. Now, for some reason, tartan is associated with Scotland, but for some reason, it's also kind of associated with the Catalan region. I don't know why. They're kind of big in tartan. It's weird. My research has given me this knowledge. And there was a specific type of Catalan tartan designed for the Barcelona Olympics. And Quilava, when you take the word Quilava and translate it from Catalan, it means kilt. Kilt, very Scottish, often tartan. So you've got all these kind of links there. The Catalan tartan being used in the 92 Olympics. Kilt's often made of tartan. Quilava is kilt in Catalan. There we go, 92 Olympics, done. Final evolution of that line is going to be Typhlosion, and that's going to be called Kootenai. Kootenai is a national forest in Eureka, Montana, in the USA. Now, back in September of 2017, there was a massive forest fire in the Kootenai National Forest. And for whatever reason, not sure why, it was dubbed, or named, the Weasel Fire. And Typhlosion's a giant weasel on fire. So there we go, Typhlosion is going to be Kootenai. The final of the starters is going to be Totodile for Gen 2. Totodile is going to be called Bond. Now, reason for this. James Bond is a 00. We know him as 007. He's clearly like the 7th of the line, but they're called 00s. That's what the sort of idea of having a license to kill, you're a 00. And 00 is the international call prefix for most of Africa. I didn't know this before now. But most of Africa has the international call prefix of 00. You know how like the UK has +44? So a lot of Africa has 00. And Africa, of course, is very well known as a song by Toto. So if you're going to, if they're associated with Africa, if you're going to dial up Toto, Toto dial, you're going to do 00, which is Bond. So Totodile is going to be Bond. Then we have Croconaw. Croconaw, this is one of the most difficult ones I had to nickname, and we're going to call it Loafer. And the reason for that is named after Toga, Toga, which is a shoe brand. And they have, one of their items is this Crocodile effect loafer. So you've got Toga making a Crocodile effect loafer, and Croconaw, if you look at what it looks like, it basically kind of looks like a crocodile wearing a toga. It's got a kind of sash across with the eggshell pattern. So it's a croc in a toga. So, you know, toga with this crocodile effect, make a loafer. So there we go, Croconaw is going to be loafer. Final one of the line is, of course, Feraligatr. And Feraligatr is going to be called Spinal Snap. This is a pun off a very cool mockumentary film called Spinal Tap. If you've seen it, it's about a sort of aging rock band. It's really quite good. But, you know, Feraligatr, of course, being a big gator with its massive bite power, if it bit down on your back, you know, your spinal snap. So there we go, Feraligatr, Spinal Snap. Now, next up we have Sentret. Sentret, the little small rodent mammalian early root one of Gen 2, is going to be called Number 1. The reason for this is based off a series of books that I absolutely love, and I still read some of them to this day. Artemis Fowl. Now, there's going to be a film coming out, an Artemis Fowl movie, and if they ruin the Artemis Fowl movie, I swear to God, right, there will be some strongly worded letters sent out, let me tell you. But we're going to nickname it Number 1 because Number 1 is a character in Artemis Fowl. He is a demon imp. In this universe, like imps, they sort of metamorph into demons. But this one is a warlock and he never actually morphs. Either way, demon imp, big long tail, and where they live, quite mountainous, quite dusty, and this character Number 1, he often uses his tail, sort of sit and stand on his tail to rest, to get its breath back. And obviously Sentret balances on its tail a lot. So there's the link, Sentret Number 1. Moving on, we have Furyk, and this is a much simpler nickname. Furyk is quite simply going to be called Frolic, and this is named after a mini-game in Pokemon Stadium 2, starring Furyk, which is called Furret's Frolic. You've got 4 Furyks, each in a corner, and they've got a goal behind them, and various Pokeballs and Ultra Balls will come down. You have to headbutt them into the goal behind. Furret's Frolic is the game. Couldn't think of anything better, so Furyk is just going to be called Frolic. Now for Hutus, which is the next one, once again we have gone back on sabbatical to Fufu's nicknaming school, and we're going to call it Flamingo. 2 words, 2 birds put together. Obviously Hoot is an owl, and what Hoot does a lot is stand on one leg. And what bird is very well known for standing on one leg? Flamingos. Flamingo, owl, merged together, flamingo. Very simple. Then we have Noctowl, one of my all-time favourite special walls. I absolutely love me a bit of Noctowl, and Noctowl's going to be called Rafferty. Musical link here, nicknamed after Jerry Rafferty, who is a very famous singer, and he has a song called Night Owl. And, you know, Noctowl is an owl, they're nocturnal by nature, and not to do with night. It's a night owl, so there we go, Noctowl is going to be Rafferty. After Noctowl, we have Ladybug. Now, Ladybird is going to be called Penguin. A little bit confusing, that one, because, you know, Ladybird's not a penguin, or indeed a bird, but it flies and penguins don't, which is also a weird anomaly. But the reason we're calling it Penguin is because Penguin, as many of you may know, is a massive publishing company. And it's a big umbrella company for a lot of other smaller ones, including Ladybird Books, which is generally meant for children. Excuse me. So yeah, Penguin is the parent company of Ladybird Books, and Ladybird is a ladybird. So there we go. Ladybird is going to be Penguin. Ladybird, of course, evolves into Ledian, a very forgotten Pokemon and very, very underused for good reason. You know, it's not very good. But Ledian is going to be called Informer. And there is a reason for this, and that reason is Informer is a song. Now, you may be familiar with a song called Informer, a reggae song called Informer, but this is named after a slightly lesser known reggae song called Informer, which is by a recording artist by the name of Lady Anne. So, Lady Anne, there we go. Lady Anne is going to be Informer after the song. Following up, we have more little bugs from the early roots of Gen 2, starting off with Spinarak. And Spinarak is going to be called Lazy Susan. Not named after anyone I know. I don't actually know anyone called Susan, much less anyone called Susan who's lazy. But a Lazy Susan, as you may know, is one of those sort of circular display table things. You get them often in restaurants where it's sort of general group eating. Often also you'll get them in people's kitchens, just as like a sort of display cabinet thing. You often see them used as like spice racks. So you can have them in a cupboard, they won't take up as much room, and you can spin them around so that you're not rooting around in the cupboard to find what you need at the back. Often used as spice racks, or just any kind of food display rack really. And they spin around, so it's a rack that spins. Spin a rack. There we go. Spin rack is going to be Lazy Susan. Following up from Spinarak, we have Adiados. Adiados, another nice little spider, one of the first things to get sticky web, and that is going to be called Fitbit. Now, why is it going to be called Fitbit? Well, Fitbits, as you probably know what Fitbits are, you know, they're those wristband things that track your progress and your keeping fit activities. Show you how many calories you burn, all the progress you're making, all that good stuff. We're not naming it after that. Now, Fitbit as a company they don't just specialise or, you know, only do these wristbands things. They also have a series of other products, including they released a Wi-Fi smart scale, obviously to do with weighing yourself, so you know it's still got the same kind of links with the company. But they released a Wi-Fi smart scale called the Area 2 Wi-Fi smart scale. And 2 in Spanish is dos, so it would be the Adiados. Adiados, Fitbit, done, nice. Next, we have the first Gen 2 Pokemon that is an evolution from previous generation. We have Crobat. Crobat is going to be called Newbury. The reason we're going to call it Newbury is it comes from sport, in fact. Newbury is a sporting goods brand that specialises in cricket, and most specifically cricket bats. And their colour scheme for these bats most often is purple. They actually, I believe, have something that's just called the purple bat. So yeah, it's a purple bat. Crobat is a purple bat. There you go. Newbury make one, Crobat is one, purple bat. Crobat's going to be called Newbury. Nice. The final evolutionary line we're going to look at today starts off with Chinchilla. The electric water type, little anglerfish kind of thing going on. And Chinchilla is going to be called Loveki. I think I'm saying that right, or Loveki. L-O-V-E-C-K-Y. We're going to say Loveki. If I've got that wrong, someone tell me. But I don't know why anyone would know it, because it's very obscure. It's named after a gentleman by the name of Chase Loveki. Now, he is a restaurateur. He is the owner of a restaurant in Shoreditch called the Two Lights Restaurant. And of course, Chinchilla has those two antennae with the light bulbs at the end. To see in the dark water, I suppose. But yeah, that is exactly why we're calling Chinchilla Loveki, named after a restaurant. Who knew? So finally, for today's episode, we're going to be looking at Lanturn. And, you know, I would normally name this after Heather, who's my friend who's very, very a big fan of Lanturn. But as you know, we're not naming our Pokemon after specific friends. We can name them kind of after people, and we are going to name Lanturn after a certain person. Lanturn is going to be called Mark. Very simple name with a very complex reason. This is named very specifically after Mark Fish. Now, followers of footballer may remember him from his days playing for Bolton Wanderers or Charlton Athletic. He still is, he's still alive, but he's retired. He's a retired South African footballer. As I say, played for those clubs in the Premier League. But why does that mean we're going to nickname Lanturn Mark? Well, Lanturn is based off an anglerfish, but it's actually based off a very specific type of anglerfish called a football fish. So Lanturn is a football fish, Mark Fish, surname Fish, played football. So he's a football fish in his own way. And that's why we're going to be nicknaming Lanturn Mark. So, that's going to wrap things up for this episode, the first Gen 2 episode of the Nickname Academy. Thank you all very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed. Always remember, please leave your nicknames down in the comment section below for the Pokemon we covered in this episode. I absolutely love reading your guys' nicknames. Some of them are absolutely fantastic, top tier stuff. And I love discussing them and hearing your reasoning behind them and hearing your thought process behind the Pokemon that we've covered in the episode. So do remember to leave your nicknames down in the comment section below and try and give nicknames to everything, remember? Because, never forget this, every Pokemon deserves a nickname, so make sure you give them one. Next week we'll be starting off with Pichu, but that's going to wrap things up from here. So, my final thank you to you all for watching, and I guess with that, I'll see you next time. Laters.